Hi everyone, it's Caroline Cousins, www.transformationalenergyexpert.com, and I want to talk to you today about dry fasting. One of the best detox methods there are out there is dry fasting. Now there are various detoxing methods out there. One of them is juice fasting, where you're surviving on just one juice during the entire time that you're fasting. So all you're drinking in is that one juice, for instance, grape juice. Another one is water fasting, which is kind of the next step up, where all you're surviving on for a certain amount of hours or days is water. And the next one after that is dry fasting. Dry fasting is when you are not putting any food or any water into the body whatsoever for a minimum period of 24 hours. And that can go on for as long as 14 days, but I wouldn't advise that. If you've never dry fasted before, then start at the very, very basic. What I do now is I dry fast every week because I've had huge benefits from it and I'm seeing huge differences from it. And this is why I want to talk about dry fasting today. So dry fasting is a very aggressive form of fasting. It's a very aggressive form of cleansing the body out. And I do it only for 24-hour periods at a time. And if you've never fasted before, then I wouldn't suggest that you go straight into it. I would suggest you start with a juice diet first, a juice fast first, where you start to get your body used to fasting and then progress to a water fast and then progress eventually to a dry fast, because it's very aggressive for the body and it can be quite dangerous if you're not sensible with it, which is why I only do 24 hours, 36 hours maximum dry fasting for me, because that's what suits me. Other people out there can go on for as long as, I understand, for as long as 14 days. One of the people on YouTube who does the master fast, he went on for 12 days recently. And some people out there have videos on YouTube that go on for as long as 5 days or 7 days dry fasting. For me, I prefer to do it for 24 hours or 36 hours maximum, and I do it once a week. So listen to your body, be very, very careful first, start slow. If you want to start with just trying it for 12 hours and see how you get on, do it that way, and then maybe next time do it for 18 hours, and then a proper fast is at least 24 hours. So then then build up to 24 hours. But just listen to your body, do what's sensible. This isn't medical advice, this is just informational purposes only. You know what's best for your body, so go with that. So what happens in a dry fast is that you're really kind of clearing out the lymph and you're giving your body a proper rest. So when you're doing a water fast, your kidneys are still using their energy to cleanse the body and to filtrate what you're drinking in and to process the water. With a dry fast, it's no food or water, so you're giving your kidneys a chance to rest as well as the digestion as well. So the body uses an enormous amount of energy to digest food and to process water. So by dry fasting, you're giving all of that energy back to the body so the body can then get to the repair work. The body knows what to do to repair itself. It knows how to repair itself. It's just that it's never given a chance to repair itself because we're always putting food in our bodies, we're always putting water in our bodies, and it's always processing, using that energy to process. So when you go on a dry fast, you get the opportunity or you give the opportunity to the body to use that energy to do all the repair work and heal the body. So I've got a list here. I can't remember all of it off the top of my head, but I'm just going to read some of the benefits here of dry fasting for you and what actually happens in the body, so it gives you an idea. I'm going to put a link below this video as to where I got a lot of this information from, so you can see in more detail, because there's a very, very good website that tells you a lot more about it, and I would encourage you to go and look at that. So this is just a brief overview. So what happens in a dry fast? We have an intense release of stem cells into the blood, which actually activates the regeneration and rejuvenation process, and this has actually been scientifically tested. So again, I'll put that link on the bottom so you can see where I got a lot of this information from. But it's on a number of sites on Google and from people that have read up on some of the testing. So number two, there's an intense body cleansing that actually goes on. The body uses a huge amount of energy for digestion and for processing water, which I said. So it gives the body a chance to use that energy to heal and to cleanse and to get rid of all the crap, basically, it's in the body. Number three, it removes edemas, it removes tumours, it removes inflammation, other bodily conditions, including fat as well, excess fat. So what happens is there's in healthy cells, there's water surrounding those healthy cells, okay? And what the dry fasting does, it forces the body to obtain the water from the cells, so it goes looking for that water. And the healthy cells contain that water, and it is sort of healthy living water. But the sick cells, or the inflamed cells, the cells that are unhealthy, kind of contain what's called dead water, okay? So what the body does then, it has an opportunity to cleanse out those dead cells, those sick cells, those unhealthy cells, and so they end up getting expelled by the body. And the whole process of dry fasting splits those cells open in search for that water, which is why we can become quite dehydrated. But my experience of doing 24-hour fasts is that I don't get thirsty. I don't get hungry very much at all. On a water fast, I get more hungry. On a dry fast, I don't get very much hunger at all. So I find dry fasting much easier, certainly for me. So cells also split much quicker during dry fasting as well. So that whole healing process is trebled, if not quadrupled, than when you're doing a water fast. So the body burns everything up. So every one of these cells turns into a kind of furnace to burn up all the dead waste and all the sickness and the unhealthiness there. And that includes the fat, excess fat, the tumours, the inflammation, and so on. The blood and the lymph also get renewed and cleared. So the immunity takes a real boost in the system because the immunity then is able to fight that inflammation effectively. A lot of people will report a higher temperature or a fever during the dry fast, and that's because the body is burning up all the unhealthy stuff. Personally, I haven't experienced that yet, but I have had some side effects coming off the fast, which I'll talk to you about in a moment. So mostly my temperature actually remains pretty constant. And in fact, even when it's been very cold, I've felt my feet have been warm, my hands have been warm, I felt quite warm. So perhaps that is due to a slightly raised body temperature during the dry fast. Parasites also die because there's no food going in to feed them. There's no water there. The body's clearing out things like the candida and the fungus and the mold that's in the body. So it starts to starve the cells of the bacteria infections, the viral infections, the parasite infections. They start to get starved there. And so the body is able to start clearing them out of the system as well. So it has very much an anti-tumor, antiviral activity, which increases there. And the T cells there, those key immune cells within the body, start to proliferate as well. Also radiation and similar things, electromagnetic, that kind of thing, starts to eliminate, certainly in longer term dry fasting as well. So it's also a disease prevention. So it's brilliant at building your immunity because the blood cleans, the lymph cleans, and at the end of the day, the blood is our kitchen. The blood is where all the nutrients are held. We get our nutrients from the quality of the food, the fruit, the vegetables, the quality food that we intake. And the lymphatic system is our sewer. So there aren't any diseases as such, there are only symptoms. And the symptoms are usually because of our sewers, our lymphatic system backing up. So it becomes clogged because the lymph doesn't get filtrated by the kidneys. And so we end up with a clogged lymphatic system that backs up in certain areas around the body, and then we start to develop those symptoms, which then get classified in modern medicine to become diseases. Okay, but at the end of the day, it's because the body is getting overwhelmed, it's not filtrating the lymph properly, so the blood is not getting cleaned, the sewer, the lymph isn't getting flushed out, isn't getting cleaned, and so we start developing symptoms which then get classified as diseases, and so on and so on. So there was an experiment that was done, I think it's in Russia, by, I'm going to say, Professor Y.S. Nikolaev. Again, it'll be in the website that I will put in the details below, where they tested dry fasting to see if it actually really did have a positive effect on the body. And they learned through the scientific experiment with rats that real healing takes place when you break the fast. So not necessarily during the fast. So the body's doing all the process and clearing out during the fast. But when we break the fast is when the real healing really takes place. And this is conducted at the Stavropol Medical Institute there. Okay, wherever that is, I'm not sure. So they took 120 rats and they divided them into 4 groups. One of them was a control group, that's group 4. One of them is control group. All of them were inoculated with sarcoma. Group 1 was inoculated before the fasting started, before the dry fasting started. Group 2 was inoculated during the dry fast. Group 3 was inoculated after breaking the dry fast. And group 4 was the control group, and they didn't do a dry fast, so they were still inoculated with sarcoma. So what happened to group 1, which was inoculated before the dry fast? Well, 50% of those rats survived. What happened to group 2 when they were inoculated during the dry fast? 2/3 of them survived. Group 3 were inoculated after breaking the dry fast. All of the rats survived. And group 4, who were the control group, who didn't do a dry fast and were still inoculated with the sarcoma, they all died. So that's pretty striking as well. And apparently there was a similar experiment in the USA where rats were exposed to radioactive irradiation causing blood cancer in all rats in the control group again. But those that dry fasted, apparently there was 70% less sickness overall. So it's pretty striking evidence there. So what else happens? Well, the brain activity increases, the creativity increases, there's more energy flooding into the body. We start clearing out the energy centers. So from it's a very spiritual process, dry fasting. So the energy centers start getting cleared out, the chakras, and so they're working more efficiently, and there's more opportunity of opening our spiritual side more, because our chakras are coming more into alignment. We're more open, we're cleaner. You know, it's not about focusing on the body as a spiritual process. It's about recognizing that the body is housing the spirit, if you like, for this experience on the earth plane, and therefore the purer you can get the body, the more spiritual you can get the experience for you. So the greater the purity of the body, the greater the spiritual experience on the earth we have here. There's also a huge increase in energy as well. So after breaking a dry fast is when the real healing takes place, because the body really sort of it super generates the healing mechanism. It boosts the immune system. You're cleaning the lymph. You're cleaning the blood. The body in dry fasting, the body receives the energy from splitting the cells, but also it draws the energy in from the environment as well when you're dry fasting. So what happens in a dry fast? Normally the urine that you if your kidneys aren't filtrating properly, then the urine will be pretty clear and there won't be many bits floating in it. And that's certainly what was happening with my urine. So I've spent sort of 15 years mentally and emotionally detoxing, and spiritually as well, detoxing that side, but I haven't given enough thought to detoxing the body. So, and if you don't detox the body and your kidneys don't filtrate, then you end up being in a place of what's called acidosis, where, you know, the kidney is struggling to filtrate, the lymph, if you like, the sewer is dirty, and we need to get it cleaned out. And then you don't pick up any diseases there. So what happens when you can test your urine by having maybe not drinking any water or eating anything, maybe 3 or 4 hours before bed. Then you, in the morning when you wake up, pee into a clear bowl and see if your urine is cloudy and has bits floating in it, bits of lymph floating in it, bits of sediment. And if it isn't, if it's quite clear, then your kidneys are not filtrating properly. So give that a go and see. What happens during a 24-hour dry fast is that the kidneys then start filtering. It's a real sort of kick to get the kidneys filtrating and the body starts moving. And I've just kept a urine sample, just lucky old you to see this back, so you can see the difference then. Can you see all that sediment in the bottom? That's coming from, it's cloudy urine, sediment. I've got a torch to see if I can make that clearer. That white is all, can you see? It's all sediment. And that's come out from the kidneys. That's just during a 24-hour dry fast, and the urine is still cloudy. And normally it's clear for me because my kidneys aren't filtrating properly. And I've had a sluggish kidney for quite a while, so I'm aware of that. And what happens, the more dry fast you do, the more the kidney then is not so overwhelmed. It doesn't get so overwhelmed, so it starts flushing out all of the crap, basically all of the rubbish that's floating around in the lymphatic system then. And then, you know, after a while, the kidney then starts to do this naturally because it's not so overwhelmed anymore. And if you've lived off your adrenals for a lot of your life, that fight or flight response, or you've had a difficult upbringing, or you've held on to a lot of buried challenges, then you're going to be running from your adrenal energy, and that's going to really take control of the kidneys. So your kidneys are going to be pretty overwhelmed. So really, this is a gift back to the body to allow the body to start properly healing on the physical there. I would say when you're stopping a dry fast, then be very, very careful, because that's when the real healing takes place, and you need to kind of ease the body back into normality. So maybe do a 24-hour dry fast, and then as you break the fast, maybe break it with coconut water or juice, fresh organic juice, you know, grape juice, something like that, or melon juice, something along those lines, and sip it gradually, and just allow your body to become hydrated again. Because all the cells, all the body needs to become a lot more hydrated. And if you don't hydrate, then you're going to feel it the first night after you break that dry fast. You're going to really feel it. And I felt it if I haven't hydrated properly. I've had aches and pains and lower back pain, and pains here and pains there. And you can also get that when you're coming off a dry fast, because the dry fasting also dislodges any emotional toxins that you have stored in the body as well. So a lot of people can get very emotional during a dry fast as well, during a water fast too, but also particularly during a dry fast, because it just cleans things out quicker, and so it can bring up a lot of emotions. And if you're not prepared for them, it can bring up fears, it can bring up all sorts of things. But about 24 to 48 hours after you've broken the dry fast, you have more energy, you feel renewed, you feel clearer, you feel healthier. You know, let's just remind you again of how much sediment. That's just 24 hours. And if you're using herbs, I mean, that's a lot of sediment, all that white there. It's a lot of sediment there. And if you're using, that's just 24 hours. So if you're using herbs, then particular herbs for detoxing, they're going to get deeper into the tissue as well. And you use those herbs before a dry fast, after a dry fast, to really get into that, to really get into the system and clear those tissues out. One of the things I also do is I use the Rife machine to detox at the same time as I'm going through a dry fast. So I use the Rife machine. If you're not sure what Rife machine is, then Google it. I will do another video on the Rife machine. Actually, it's excellent. It's all about frequencies, sending frequencies there to the body, and I use the detox frequencies, the kidney stimulation frequencies, and detoxing the lymph in order just to enhance that whole dry fasting process as well. And I have to say, I've definitely been healthier since doing it. I've now worked into that I do one dry fast a week, and I find that I'm feeling more energetic, feeling clearer, feeling healthier. There are various things in my body starting to clear up. now. So I think, you know, if you can do it for longer and it's healthy for you, obviously this isn't medical advice, so you have to take your own responsibility there, then do what is right for you. But short-term dry fasting, be sensible, start on a juice fast. If you have any particular medical conditions, then you have to take advice first and do what is right for you. But I hope this helps. Any questions, don't hesitate to drop me a line and via my website, and very pleased if this has helped you in some way. Bye.